is set in a rich family. They're a rich family, so they're not dealing with poverty this time, but you can still see a glimpse into the lives of poor people.
And what's it like being a novelist in a country where the habit of reading is not widespread?
You know, I think I've said that in interviews, and I'll say it again. We in Africa don't really have the right to declare that our people don't read, because we haven't brought the books to them, first of all. And then we haven't, I normally say that we need to, the same way the former Nigerian Minister for Information talked about rebranding Nigeria. I think we need to rebrand literature in this environment. Because I have to confess that for a long time I didn't even read a lot of books. I didn't read a lot of fiction. After a while, there was a period in my life where I just went for non-fiction books, especially books, by the books about the rich dad, poor dad kind of books. You want to read something you find beneficial to you, first of all. You want to read something that you don't have to crack your head while reading. And
there's a lot of self-help books, aren't there?
There are a lot of self-help
prayer bullets for winners. And
yes.
Like
beyond the prayer bullet books, beyond the religious books, even. I mean, generally, you want an easy read. You want a book that benefits you somehow. So when I talk about rebranding, we have a lot of intellectuals in our country who haven't benefited the society one bit. Probably, I don't know what went wrong along the way. Maybe the government abandoned whatever, but the fact remains that the common man, I know that intellectuals have done a lot. I know that. I know we have people like Mrs. Konjo-Iweala doing fantastic things, but the fact remains that to the average Nigerian, he doesn't feel the impact of what they know. Everything they learned in their schools and all the degrees they have hasn't translated to change, transformation. They haven't actually done. People can't quantify, can't touch the things, their contributions. Unlike the 419ers, the thieving politicians, they go and build boreholes, and everybody sees what they do.
They're active.
So there's this impression that the intellectuals on that side, and we who live the real life on this side. So the average person doesn't want to get involved in anything. All that mumbo jumbo, intellectualism. So books have somehow been cast in that light.
As part of that.
Yes. And then you hear intellectuals saying things like, well, you get the impression that there's some sort of people that can write. I mean, you when you step into any reading, that's the impression you get. People even give it off without knowing. They give off those vibes. Even the comments people make, oh, well, you were clever in school, I can understand. But in the Western world, janitors write books. Prostitutes write best-selling books. All sorts of people write books. But here, the people that have been writing our books are the scholars, the PhD holders, the professors. Almost every African writer has a master's degree in creative writing. So there is that impression people have that this book thing is for the intellectuals.
So and it somehow happens somewhere else.
It happens somewhere else. So that affects the reading culture. And then, of course, a lot of the books, the literature text books we have, books we're reading, so fantastic books literary-wise, but not the easiest of reads for most people, the average person. Unlike the Hadley Chases.
There's no Nollywood equivalent of literature.
Thank you. There's no Nollywood. We don't have that Nollywood equivalent of literature. All our literature starts from the top. And then you're expected to reach high up and exercise your brain to that level. But really, it's supposed to be from, well, not necessarily supposed to be a range. There's supposed to be a range. I think that's the way to put it. So it totally turns people off. I'm not a dunce. But there's some books I don't have the energy to toil through. I don't want to wade through a book. I mean, I have so many other things I'm doing. Yes, literature is beneficial. But then I've read enough books in my life to last me if I decide not to read another book. No, I will keep reading. I will keep reading. I still read. But the point is that I don't always want to crack my head. And then when I read a book, I don't always want to read a deep issue. Female circumcision is bad. The white man came and did us bad. I don't always want to deal with those things when I'm reading a book. So these are the things that have affected the reading culture here. And then, of course, the availability of books. We all know the challenges that publishers face in this environment, distribution and all that. So you can't, unlike in the Western world, you can step out of a train station and there's a bookshop right beside you, you pop in and buy. But here, it's quite a torturous task to get to yourself. My parents don't know where to buy my book from. Or from where to buy my book. The same thing, I have loads of friends who have not ever picked it, but they want to. They're my friends. They want to buy my book, but they don't know where to. They call me from all parts of Nigeria. They'll be, I want to read your book. I read about it in the paper. Where can I read it? And then sometimes they send me a copy. I can't send everybody a copy. I can't do that. So these are the factors. Until we address these issues, then we have no right to say Africans don't read. So I think that's the point I'm at now. I'm thinking, so telling me I'm in an environment where, saying I'm in an environment where, writing in an environment where people don't really read, I don't really accept that as such. Because I just see myself as having taken a step towards making my people read more. First of all, I've written a very readable book, which even people who haven't read for you. I have a friend who said she's never finished a book in her life, and the last book she read was in secondary school when she was forced to do literature. So writing a book that is easy to read, writing a book that is Nollywoodish in a sense. I mean, I'm capturing the characters we see every single day. Catch Daddy, everybody knows the Catch Daddy, at least the average Nigerian, especially girls who grew up in the eastern part of Nigeria. I have girls who that was the life they lived, and they come and Adobe, how did you've just captured exactly what we went, you know, these were the guys we dated, these were the guys that we saw around. So those everyday characters, nothing complex as such. Well, they might be complex being represented in book, but we know who they are. So that gives it a certain Nollywood feel that is more
recognizable.
More recognizable. People can relate to those kinds of books. So I think the more we have of those kinds of books,
the easier it'll be.
The easier it will be. So, you know, imposing these big books, fantastic. There is a place for them, but we need a range for people to access, even if they don't want to read the bigger books that, you know, the scholars would love.
And is there a literary scene in Nigeria?
There is, even though people jocularly describe them as a tribe. Because there seems, you know, when people say, "Oh, Adobe, you're famous in Nigeria," I don't agree. I'm not famous in Nigeria. I'm famous among the literary tribe. There just seems to be a tribe of people who follow these things.
But is there a newer generation of writers who are
writers, or you mean the authors? Definitely, there must be. Don't I belong to that new generation?
You do, but what I'm asking is whether there are more like you.
There must be, of course there are. I mean, Nigerian writers are being published every day. Well, in terms of people who live here, the issue is that we have a lot of writers here. Nigerians never stopped writing. We have a lot of people who write, but they're not being published abroad. That's the problem. So I happen to be the only one who lives here and who's published abroad. Well, who got my publishing deal while living here. I know there are writers who get their deals abroad and still eventually move back. So as far as I know, and as far as is available on, you know, the general information, I'm the only Nigerian writer who lives in Nigeria and is published internationally. But we do have a lot of people writing every day. I mean, I get a lot of people sending me self-published books, but they're self-publishing, and automatically you don't. That limits your reach. So you probably won't read about them in the UK or in the US. They probably won't win any grand prize abroad. But there are lots of them here.
They exist.
They haven't stopped. I mean, I even know people, 18-year-old people writing 19.
Adobe, thanks for talking to me today.
My pleasure.